Welcome back to Elements of Art. I'm Natasha and I have an art question for you. Actually, one of the most important art questions. What is art? Wow, what a hard question to answer. Let's look at a picture. So, is this art? Most everyone looking at this image would say that this is indeed art. In fact, the thing that first pops into our minds when we consider the question, what is art, is often a nice little painting like this. But is that all art can be? Absolutely not. Art is so many things, from music to dance to theater to fashion to architecture and more. But for this course, we are focusing strictly on visual art. In this lesson, we will look at the Merriam-Webster definition of art, break down the definition, identify classifications used in the discussion of visual arts, and mention some of the different forms of visual art that exist. Art. It's a tiny word, only 3 letters, yet it encompasses so much. It holds meaning beyond language. It is vast and multidimensional. What is it? To get started with answering this question, what is art in reference to visual art? Let's consult the dictionary. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines art as the conscious use of skill and creative imagination, especially in the production of aesthetic objects. Let's break down this definition. The first word the definition uses is conscious. When something is done consciously, it means it is being done with thought or intention. So if you accidentally knock over a cup full of juice and it makes a lovely brushstroke shape as the puddle hits the floor, this would not be considered art because it was not done on purpose. But if an artist deliberately chooses to spray, flick, or pour paint onto a canvas, or intentionally chooses to incorporate chance into a project, like sitting a watercolor painting outside in the rain, then it would be considered conscious. Let us check out the next part of the definition. It says, use of skill. Use of skill means that the person creating the art has some sort of strength or ability in making. This does not necessarily mean that they've attended art school or completed an apprenticeship. But generally, an artist has at least invested some practice in the creation of their art. Some artists never go to any sort of art class. These creators are called outsider artists. While they may have not received formal training, they still put work and dedication into their various art forms. There have been many outsider artists who were heavily committed to making art who actually ended up doing well in the art world. Now, what is said next in the definition? Creative imagination. This is a great part. This simply means that the artist creating an artwork is doing so with some level of inventiveness or originality. They are making something new or envisioning something in an innovative way. Without some level of creativity, we would still be making the same art that was created thousands of years ago. Or imagine that only exact, perfect likenesses of things could be made as art, with no flair or addition of expression or interpretation. Creativity adds interest and excitement to the art objects we see. It is also fundamentally useful when reacting to new developments in society and cultural changes. Lastly, the definition mentions production of aesthetic objects. The production of objects part of the sentence is easy to understand. This simply means that art consists of things that are made, and that makes sense. But there's the addition of another word, the word aesthetic. This is a somewhat difficult word to say and comprehend. Aesthetics is basically considered an appreciation of beauty. You could also consider it to be an artistic taste. Most everyone has a different sense of aesthetics, just like some people like certain foods and others do not. You may consider the color blue to be lovely and enjoy artwork with realistic flowers and skies, while another person dislikes the color blue and finds pictures of the outdoors bland. This part of the definition that discusses aesthetics simply states that art consists of objects made as a form of beauty or ornamentation. So let's review. As a basic definition, visual art is intentional, practiced, creative, and ornamental. But this last word, ornamental? The word ornamental makes this a very limiting definition for visual art. It states that all art should be made for decoration, and well, that's simply not the case. You see, art can be made or used for many reasons other than adornment, but that is something we will discuss in our next lesson. There are a few different classifications to know and consider in reference to visual art. The two we're going to talk about today are observable and functional. And each of those classifications has 3 categories within it. Visual arts can be observably classified as representational, abstract, or non-objective. Representational art is designed to look like something, like people, places, or objects. Abstract art focuses on creating imagery that is a departure from reality, and it often incorporates alterations of form. Non-objective art has no reference to reality, and instead focuses on design elements. Visual art can further be functionally classified into fine arts, decorative arts, or commercial arts. Fine arts are those things that are found in museums, galleries, and art auctions. Decorative arts are those things created to adorn a person's self, home, or other environment. Commercial arts are those things that are designed for a business purpose, like product packaging or advertising. So, in review, an art object can be observably classified as representational, abstract, or non-objective, and can be functionally classified as fine art, decorative art, or commercial art. Now that we've conceptually considered what art is and discussed some of the classifications, let's take a quick tour through some of the common forms. Painting, drawing, graphic design, photography, illustration, sculpture, printmaking, installations, projections, glasswork, ceramics, textiles, crafts, mixed media, and more. So when thinking about the question, what is art? Doesn't it seem like the question should be, what isn't art? Hopefully now you're able to have a nice broad understanding of all that visual art is and can be. Understand some of the classifications used in the discussion of visual arts, and recognize some of the common forms when you look around, and remember that art is all around you. Hey.